So we're going to go on with this area. I've been and got a bit of material this morning, got some flat wheel discs, got some more cutting discs, and I've got some rectangle box sections. So we're going to literally cover this full area above that line with rectangle box section, which will reinforce this area. It'll give me a nice area to mount an engine mount to. It'll strengthen all this panel up, and I think that's kind of the only option we've got other than weld on the back side. So let's get on with it. Let's see where we get up to today, but that's the job for today. So this is where I'm up to. You've seen me cut this part of the chassis leg out so it clears the gearbox area, because that's where the gearbox mount sits, and I've got to bring it up and over to sit on this, basically on this relay somewhere around here. But with cutting that part of the chassis leg out, I've taken all the strength out. So I'll put all this rectangle in to kind of look like and to work like the chassis rails. Tied it all in this area, tied it all in this area, and tied it full way across to reinforce the full area, to stop the wobble, to make it strong again. So now I've got that done, I can start looking at the front, and I'll explain that in a minute. But I'm quite happy with how that sits. There's no real pretty way of doing it. That's the way kind of you had to do it. It is what it is. And anyone who's the welding police about doing spot welds, well, you know, when you're welding thick to thin, you don't want to put a massive amount of heat into the material. So on cars, I do a lot of just a spot move, spot move, spot move. It gives it uniform, it doesn't blow through, and it looks reasonably presentable. So what my next job is now is I'm going to tie the front chassis legs in. So I'm going to put a piece of box section between there and there, all the way across to tie it in. And the reason for that is, because they used to have a subframe, they used to have two tie arms which went off to the bottom arms. So I need to now put that in and make two tie arms which go off, because obviously I've cut the two areas out where the subframe would mount to. So let's get this box in, and then let's get the engine underneath, and let's see how it mounts. So this is where I'm up to give you a bit of an idea, so you can see what I'm seeing and you can see where I'm trying to go with what I'm fabricating. So we flatten this off, which obviously you've seen this engine mount, go down, with the flat edge will sit on there, no problem whatsoever. So that's that engine mount done. This is what I'm trying to achieve on this engine mount, is the chassis leg. I'll mount this up a little bit with a little bracket welded onto this, and then that will bolt to that bolt and that bolt. I just make a little engine mount to go to this. That's that engine mount sorted out in this area. Everything clears the gearbox. And then I've just knocked this up temporary until we can get it lifted straight. And what I've done is, so I can turn this around and show you, I've made two little brackets which come off for the front engine mount stabilizer, which will tie into the front stabilizer of the K24. So you can see that, hold on, just there, which will tie into this area. I say it's not been welded yet, but that's for the fabricated, because I don't know where it's going to sit properly, and I don't know how the rubber is on this mount as yet. But also, this here is for a tie bar, which basically means I'm going to tie this bar into that point there, so straight across. That's for the suspension, to obviously for the subframe. So I'm quite happy where we're up to. I'm quite happy with the progress. I now need to basically get the engine lifted up, level where it's going to sit, tack it on this side, make this side engine mount, and then I think he's ready to start doing the finishing off the front cross member and making the tie bars. So a bit of progression now. We've got this engine mount now fully welded on. So that's fully welded and in position. We've got clearance here just about for the pulleys, as you can just see, just clears, because I've moved it over probably 10 mil just to make sure that clears 100%. So now I'm on with the gearbox side. Let me go around there and show you where we're up to. So what I've done is I've made just a basic plate which bolts to the gearbox on the 2 fixing points. I've had to notch out a little bit more at the back there and a little bit here just so it clears, and it's got about, 20 mil for clearance. So now off this plate, I'm going to literally mount this somewhere like so on there, and then build a bracket from that plate to that engine mount. So then this side's supported, making sure I clear the gear linkages. But that's what we're on with, and let's just plod on and make some cardboard templates, cut some steel, tack it all together. So this is what I've knocked up. Basically, still using the billet mounts that we've bought, made this plate. So basically, if you look, it's all hollow. So it's going to sit around there. I'm going to weld it all to this chassis rail. And then if you look, it's directly above that plate. So I can make a plate to go off here, straight down, mount it there, brace it all up, make it look pretty, and then that's that engine mount done. So then we're literally 2 engine mounts finished. I can get rid of the engine crane and it'll sit and swing on them 2 mounts, and then I can get on with the front cross member, which I'll show you a bit more in a minute when I weld it all together. Right, so I'm working away here, welding, fabbing, doing all the work on this Polo to get it in. Kurt's obviously bored, so he's tried the screwdriver trick to see if it's true or to see if it's fake. And to be honest, I thought it was fake and they used fishing wire, but it turns out it's actually worked. Hold on. What a fucking bell end. Jacks are out, engine crane's out. It's literally sat on the 2 mounts. This one's not 100% finished yet. It's just a straight piece, but I've reinforced there, and I'm literally, tomorrow I'll take it out and I'll reinforce all the sides and build it all up. But for this evening, I wanted to get the 2 mounts on. I still need to weld this cross member in. And what we've done is we've lowered it now on the lowest jack stands. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and fit the bonnet and see how much it doesn't fit. Because if you look, we think it's going to be close. It's going to be very, very close. But we're going to put the bonnet on, we're going to put the bumper on, and we're going to see how much ground clearance we've got and see if the bonnet fits. Start the time lapse. So that's the bonnet on, the bumper on. And it only goes and fits in the area, doesn't it? Don't have to raise the bonnet, nothing. So let me show you what we're seeing and what clearance we've got. So if you look, we have got the vents in here. And you can just see the grey. And it just sits and clears nicely. So then if you look underneath, that's the splitter. You cannot see, a bit lower, the sump underneath at all. So K24 tall engine fits in a Polo engine bay. Now I need to weld that cross member in, and that'll be us calling it for this evening, and then I'll pick it up tomorrow and finish the engine mount off and reinforce it. So I've just welded in the cross member. That was the final job for this evening. So just what so I can explain, like the deal later on. These 2 have not been welded on yet, these 2 mounts. But as you can see, these 2 are going to tie into this point here. So I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. I need to look at the factory Accord mount, see whether I can tie it into it, or I've got to use the other billet mount and make another little bracket to hold it. But other than that, I'm quite happy with that. So once this is done, I've literally got to sort the tie bars out. So when I talk about tie bars, And what I'm going to do is, so this should explain it to you. So they're the tubular arms that are made for the original subframe. Let me just sort this camera out. So they're the original arms, and they come up and normally bolt to the subframe area here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to tie it into this cross member bar. So let me find the bracket if I can find it, 1 second. So these are some old Corsa ones I had knocking around. So if I put that on, like so, see they sit there, I can bring this up to the point, it clears the box and it'll go directly to the cross member bar. 2 supports, and then that'll stop the bottom arm from moving. Do it on the other side, tie it in. And then I think I'll utilise the anti-roll bar I've made and tie that in somehow. Again, supporting it off this bottom cross member I've made. But I'm very happy with the progress we've made tonight. And I think that's us calling it an evening. So that's us calling it a night. Very happy with the progress we've got. Tied, you know, it's on 2 engine mounts now. So it's self-supporting. The bonnet clears. The sump clears the bottom of the car. Everything looks like the tyre bars are going to fit. The front mounts in a nice place. So moving forward, I'm very happy with where I'm up to. So I think I'm going to pick it up again tomorrow. Obviously that'll be another video. I'm going to mount the radiator, finish the front engine mount, finish the gearbox mount, box it all in, reinforce it, and then measure up for drive shafts. And obviously you will have seen the previous video where I made drive shafts, so same kind of principle there. But I'll still go into that and I'll still show you what we're doing. But we're very, very close to having this done now. Very excited. So once it's done, it's out of the workshop, over to Kurt to wire, paint, tidy up, kind of. I think we're going to put a K20 head on it as well so we can get a bit more normal aspirated power off it. So exciting times this car, exciting times this build. So thanks for watching. As usual, like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Take care.